Hello and welcome to Manga96, and today we're going to talk about Overlord. Today's topic will be the two members of Blue Rose, with the leader being a noblewoman who has a severe case of 8th grader syndrome and their strongest member being a vampire that is madly in love with Ainz's alter ego, Momon. I'm of course talking about Lakyus and Evileye. But before we start, here's the spoiler warning, as I'll be spoiling a lot of things in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I would highly recommend that you go and read the light novel, as it is an enjoyable read. For everyone else, let's start with who Lakyus is. Lakyus Alvin Dale Aydra is an adamantium rank adventurer and the leader of Blue Rose. She's also the niece of fellow adamantium rank adventurer Azut Aydra and a former noblewoman of the now fallen Reested Kingdom. She's a very bright person who enjoys adventuring with her friends. She acts weird sometimes, like wearing meaningless rings or fighting against her dark personality, making her other team members worry about her actual becoming evil. Lakyus was also shown to have a very kind-hearted, stubborn and loyal personality as well, as seen during the last stages of the fall of the Reested Kingdom. Instead of accepting her uncle's offer to escape to the Argolan Council state, accepting the offer of the Black Scripture to migrate to the slain Tecrocracy, or even run away herself outside the kingdom for her safety, Lakyus stubbornly chooses to stay behind in the kingdom and fight until her last breath to defend her country. Despite the incredibly low chances of she and her group actually winning or surviving the war with the Sorcerer Kingdom, she shows a great deal of personal loyalty to her nation and a strong sense of patriotic justice for her countrymen. She also expresses the desire to avenge the people of her country who were unjustly slaughtered by the Sorcerer Kingdom. She felt a great sense of guilt after knowing and seeing that her own countrymen are being sent to die against the Sorcerer King. Due to this immense stubbornness, her teammates, despite not agreeing with Lakyus' desire to defend the kingdom, knew full well it was impossible to talk her into escaping and running away with them, and were ultimately forced to rely on a move, violent and cunning method to save her life and escape by bringing her with them. As for her past, when Lakyus was a young girl, she decided to become an adventurer after hearing the adventurous stories of Red Drop. She ran away from home to have an adventure of her own. While she was still inexperienced, her parents had apparently shown absolution to their daughter for this action. At some point in her life, she was saved by Gagarna and the two became partners. She also a former target for assassination by Tia and Tina, who fell during their attempt to kill her. Rather than killing the two assassins, she managed to convince them to join Blue Rose as her companions. As for her abilities, Lakyus became one of the strongest adventurers in the Reested Kingdom at the age of 19 for her heroic level abilities. She is also one of the few users of revival magic. Additionally, she could use what is known as a group support magic to aid her teammates in battle, as well as being able to cast a silent healing spell onto herself without speaking a word. As for her relationship with Blue Rose, she is shown to have a close familial bond with her teammates in Blue Rose and is shown to trust and care for each one of them greatly. Lakyus herself is stated to be more than a concept to simply spend her time adventuring together with them and treasures all of her memories made with them. Her teammates in turn are shown to fully represent her feelings with their own unconditional trust and loyalty, a scene where all of them would follow Lakyus' order and decision unconditionally and have shown to have faith in her judgment. Later, their loyalty and care for her welfare is fully seen during their scheme to forcibly save her during the fall of the Reested Kingdom, where, despite Lakyus' making up her mind to stay and protect her home nation, her teammates had already deemed that saving her life was far superior to saving a failing corrupt kingdom and became scheming to save her against her will. A scene perfectly where they were willing to use brute force to forcibly weaken her enough to make her vulnerable to mind control magic to have her escape with them. As for her relationship with Momon, Lakyus treats Momon with respect and companionship as a fellow adamantium adventurer. She and her group were willing to cooperate with his adventure group Darkness so they could work together on putting a stop to Jaldabut's plan. Yet, at the same time, however, Lakyus prayed with all her heart that Momon would defeat Jaldabut and get rid of the demon in the royal capital. In a way, it shows how far her degree of faith and trust goes when depending on Momon and his abilities against the powerful demon. After the incident was finally clear, she hopes to work with Momon and his group again someday, stating to their nation's hero that the group will do her best on catching up to them. Moving on to Evileye. Keno Farsi Invern, formerly known as the legendary vampire lord Landfall, and currently known as Evileye, is an adamantium rank adventurer and magic caster of Blue Rose, as well as a former companion of the 13 heroes. Evileye is considered to be a sharp-tongued person by her teammates. However, her sharp attitude will instantly change whenever someone brought up the subject regarding Momon. Nonetheless, she trusts her allies highly and cares a lot for them. She has a soft spot for Momon, viewing him as a special individual who she is willing to offer praise for lovingly. Evileye can also be quite an emotional person on the inside, something that she tries to hide from her comrades. Due to her own arrogance, she normally tends to be ignorant of information in her surroundings. The subject of girls' talks like love tips that Evileye didn't consider important made her regretful about it upon becoming infatuated with Momon afterwards. She was looked down upon human females who are in search of a strong partner to protect them and their children. She had always considered such trivial thoughts to be foolish, believing all you need is to become powerful enough in your own right without needing somebody to protect you. However, Evileye's way of thinking seemed to have changed after falling in love with Momon and knowing what it was like to be protected by someone stronger than her. As for her past, Evileye was originally a Rainbow Eye before becoming an undead. She possesses a talent that allows her to copy any spell. When she inadvertently copied Elder Coffin Dragon Lord's spell that turned him into a vampire, she also ends up turning herself into a vampire too. According to Brain's information in regards to Landfall, he stated that the Vampire Lord was supposedly wiped out by the 13 heroes. In the web novel, the name Landfall is also called as such because she made the country her capital and filled it with the dead. This could even imply that she might have been on the evil deities who caused destruction throughout the continent 200 years ago. Despite what the story says about her, she was still alive and somehow ended up becoming a companion of the 13 heroes during their journey together. Because she is a member of the 13 heroes, Evileye has also fought alongside her companions against the evil deities like the Insert God and defeated him in the past back then. But due to her status as a vampire, however, Evileye's good deeds were either forgotten, erased, or never been mentioned before by human history. Instead, she is currently only remembered as Landfall, an evil legendary vampire lord who once destroyed a nation and met her final end by the hands of the 13 heroes. In the web novel, throughout the past 200 years, occasionally rumors made mention about the discovery of the magical items or treasure maps that once belonged to Landfall. Around 200 years after she disbanded of the group, she was found by Rigrit, an old friend and former companion of the 13 heroes. Upon meeting Rigrit, the old woman decides to make an unknown bet with the vampire, and that if she wins, Evileye shall take her place in Blue Rose. Blue Rose fought against Evileye and defeated her, leading the vampire to become the newest member afterwards as promised. While she no longer goes by the name known as Landfall, the vampire now hides under the name called Evileye. Blue Rose Arch-Magic caster as well as the most powerful magic user in the Re-Estate Kingdom. As for her abilities, she is shown to be a very powerful arcane magic caster as her power has been able to damage one of the Pleiades, Entoma. However, as an elementalist who specializes in earth elemental magic, she is more susceptible to damage from attacks that will counter her element. Being a magic caster, the spells revolving around the earth element, she tends to use cold inflict, blood dodge or piercing physical damage onto her target. The Pleiades have speculated that Evileye's utilization of crystals to be an upgrade specialization with her earth-type elementalism. Additionally, she possesses a special ability to cause the negative energy flowing through her body to Overlord and infuse every attack she made with negative status effect. With this ability, she is capable of using her spells imbued with negative energy to drain her target's life force. Evileye wears an enhanced ring that conceals her status as a vampire. According to Yggdrasil standards, she is truthfully estimated to be around level 50. It was implied that Evileye's innate talent has the ability to easily annihilate the entire city, but didn't want to dwell further on the subject since it's her ace in the hole. Her talent is the ability to store any spell that she has seen or been targeted with, but only one, and use it for her own. She can even use it on super tier spells or wild magic. However, when casting the spell, its effects are calculated from her own stats and she has to pay a cost that needs to be paid. For instance, if she were to cast Fallen Down, it would take the same amount of time to cast it and would work off her lower ability scores, so it will be less damaging than the same spell as cast by Ainz. However, she will be counted as having met the ability requirements for casting the spell. Also, she cannot willingly dismiss the stored spell. She can only release it by using it once, which can be taken as a stretch to be a weakness. As for whenever a spell is stored, that depends on whether she is willing to do so. However, like the ability she could use with limited potency, mentioned in her alternative counterpart Keno's epilogue, it is impossible for Evileye to use her talent to its full efficiency, and this description is merely founded on possibilities. Similarly to her counterpart Keno's Faris Invern, the reason why she did not become a zombie but rather a vampire instead is because she was subconsciously using her talent to replicate Curse Elim's wild magic. In the process of doing so, she absorbed the soul of the people around her, becoming undead, being the Cure Elm and originally planned to be another Cure Elm. Where she is only holding onto her intelligence due to sustaining the spell, strictly speaking it's not quite the same as his. Therefore, her talent can no longer be used for other purposes, and if this talent, or perhaps the wild magic, were dispelled, she will become a mindless zombie. Evileye literally cannot release her talent or she dies. As for her relationship with Blue Rose, she became a member of Blue Rose due to Rige's coercion. Although Evileye initially joined against her will, she came to deeply care and trust all the other members over time. In the same way, her teammates care, trust and appreciate her. After she fell in love with Momon, they have gotten used to the change of humor and excitement of Evileye every time someone speaks about him. With this, I covered everything that I wanted to cover on Lakyus and Evileye. And that'll be all for this video. If you like this video, leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments below, subscribe to the channel for more manga reviews and One Piece content. And until next time, take care.